Welcome to the ADNA Presents. This is Roy Samuelson. Today we have a very special guest, Dr. Tabitha Kenlon. She is the Audio Description Project Coordinator, and we're going to share some stories about audio description. Thanks for joining us, Tabitha.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
The standard question I always like to start off is asking, what do you love about audio description?
I knew you were going to ask me this, and I tried so hard to think of a wonderful, witty, clever, engaging response. And I have sort of the honest one, and I have the still honest but more optimistic one. So the honest one is I don't love audio description because I really don't know a lot about it. And the more optimistic, but still honest one is that I love audio description's potential.
Wow, this is really great. I think we've only had one time when someone actually said they hate audio description. So we're on this. This is not a trend, but I hear you on what I'm hearing also is that you're enjoying the discovery of audio description. And let's talk a little bit about potential. Usually we save that for the end of the conversation, but I think in this context, what is the potential that you see?
Yeah, well, because that's kind of my starting point when I was applying for this job at American Council of the Blind, which I was familiar with ACB. And so when I saw the job advertised, I thought, why not? I need a job. Let me apply. And I didn't think I would have a chance because I don't know anything about audio description. But they interviewed me and I was a good candidate, and I started doing my research, and I went to the ADP website and I discovered that audio description is, as I knew, for film and TV and that sort of thing, but also, which I didn't know, it's for practically everything else as well. It's for live theater, it's for museums, it's for national parks, it's for books. It's just for like anything. If you can think about a place where you might want to know what something looks like, there's probably, well, hopefully going to be some audio description there. And I found that really exciting. I have a teeny tiny background in theater. My first master's degree is in theater. And, once you get it in your blood, it's just kind of lurking there, waiting to get you all excited again. So I got really interested in all of that potential that, audio description can be so incredibly useful in all of these different areas of life. And there's just all of this possibility for inclusion and accessibility. So that I think that is what I do love about it.
Oh, what a great answer. And I hear what you bring to the table already. In addition to research, there's also the curiosity and the background, particularly in theater and how that informs audio description outside of maybe even outside of film and TV. If we could focus, I guess, beginning with audio description in film and TV, as you've become more acclimated to audio description, how has your master's in theater impacted anything in audio description as far as what you're picking up on?
I think it's more the PhD in English that has come to
Ah,
bear, because I'm very interested in, I audited in February, I audited the Audio Description Institute that is run by Joel Snyder, the founder of the ADP, and the trainer of I don't know, hundreds hundreds of people working in audio description today. And the most fun for me was being a part of a group, and he'd assigned us clips to watch and create audio description for, and I was the only person with low vision in the group. So I was kind of trying to see what was happening in the clip, but of course I was missing like 90% of it, which is why I too would need audio description. And so the rest of the group would start talking about what was happening and, what they needed to describe. And then sometimes they would start talking about something and I'd say, wait, you didn't tell me that that was there. And they're like, oh gosh,
ah.
okay. So I think it was probably very helpful for them to have sort of that immediate feedback. But I really just loved the kind of just really getting and swimming around until your fingers are wrinkly kind of stuff about word choice. And should we say someone is walking or strolling or hurrying or striding or tiptoeing or crouching? Just turn into a human thesaurus. And so yeah. And I guess, I mean, there's a little bit of theater to that too, but I just loved finding just the right words to get to describe kind of as much as you can, in as few words as possible.
In the Audio Description Institute, I heard that your contribution was, in addition to what is missing from the audio description script, also word choice, the specificity of what words to choose and that sort of thing. That there's something more to what audio description writing is than what most people may assume out the gate. That if I hear, "Oh, there's an audio description writer," well, they're just taking what's on screen and turning it into a script. It's a very cut and dry, sorta clear transcription of visuals to words. My assumption is that in that institute, you and your team were able to really craft the script in a way that was more than just transcription, that it is an actual, there's a performance that's happening. There's decisions being made. There's editing. That your contribution as a low vision person made the script better. I'm wondering if we could talk a little bit about that, the artistic contributions to a script for audio description that's maybe more than just, "Oh, here's what's on screen."
Yeah, and I think that is part of it that I find really fascinating, and again, something that I did not know existed before I started this job is that there does seem to be sort of this debate about, to what degree is writing audio description an art and a craft, and to what degree is it just reporting. And so I think that's really interesting. And we did actually have some conversations in the Audio Description Institute about how to make these decisions. Does it matter what color shirt Tiger Woods is wearing on the golf course? And apparently, I didn't know this. It does. Like, apparently, he only wears a red shirt on certain occasions. I think I'm getting that right. I to confess, I know nothing. I know even less about sports than I know about audio description. But that was a really interesting conversation about, somebody, I might say, I don't care what color shirt the guy's wearing, but somebody else who knows a lot more about golf might see some significance and, some symbolism in the color of his shirt. So yeah, there's just like so much more that goes into the creating of the audio description script than I ever dreamed possible. And I think that it's really exciting that we get to talk about that because, obviously the first kind of struggle is to get audio description in there at all.
Mm,
But
mhm.
I don't think you want to just say, I'm not of the, something is better than nothing school. I think if we're going to do it, we need to do it well, and that the community of people who want and need audio description shouldn't just be grateful for crumbs. We should demand and get the highest standard. And so I think it's really great that we can have these conversations, and sort of these philosophical debates about what details need to be there, how to put them in. um, I know there are arguments about, like, sometimes if you can only fit in something before it actually happens on the screen, or should you do that? And, so, and I don't, I don't really participate in the debates a whole lot. I'm just kind of excited to know that they're happening. And I am still very much in like the learning and listening mode, and, trying to pick up as much as I can. But I think it's a very fascinating debate.
Yeah, and that also addresses you had said meaning and, or you had said significance as far as meaning goes, and in film and TV, this is our main focus on this particular podcast is film and TV audio description, but
Mhm.
the parallels to other aspects of video really make a difference, and to do it well, the discriminatory position that blind audiences are put in of, do you want more audio description or do you
Mhm.
want it to be better? It's no sighted person would ever have to deal with that.
Right.
So, let's talk specifically more about your role outside of the institute with audio description project. Uh, the value that you've been giving already just in our own conversations and experiences. It's so exciting to see some things that are happening with the project and how things are going forward. Is there anything that you could share with our audience right now that you're really excited about or maybe looking forward to that we might be able to learn about?
I'm not sure if we have enough time. I feel
Wow. Yes.
like there is so much going on with ADP. It is crazy. But what leads to it's kind of it's award season at ACB, or I guess yeah, all of ACB, but you know, ADP in particular for me. So we have recently decided on the winners for the ADP Awards, which recognize achievement in media, performing arts, museums, public sector, and we also give a Career Achievement Award. I'm not allowed to tell you who won. So we will announce those during the ACB convention in July. And the winners have been notified, and so I've been scheduling. We're going to do sort of a virtual awards ceremony, so I've been scheduling recording sessions for them to give their acceptance speeches, and the tiny orchestra there in the corner to play them off stage if they go on too long. That's a joke. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, this is just an audio, so I had to insert my little snicker.
Yeah, thank you. And audio description, he laughs. And then I wrote the script for I'm going to be one of the MCs, so it'll be my first
Oh.
my first audio awards show. And I think we're gonna have cameras on, so I might have to dust off my old cocktail gowns and from my days working at an opera company and see if they still fit. So that's exciting. And but one of the programs that I'm most excited about is the Beatty Awards contest. It's BADIE, so it's Beatty because it only has one D. We've had some internal arguments about this, but I have a PhD in English, and so this is where I'm coming down on the side of Beatty. Some people want to say Batty because I guess they think it sounds cooler, which fine, but that's not how it's spelled. I'm sorry. So it stands for Benefits of Audio Description in Education, and it is an essay contest for school children and adolescents from the ages of 7 to 21, I think, is where we cap it. And they are asked to watch a video from the collection from the DCMP, Described and Captioned Media Program. There are our partners in this effort. And so the kids watch a video of their choice, and then they write a short essay critiquing the audio description. So they're not reviewing the film itself, but they're paying attention to the audio description script. And so I think that obviously was a lot of fun, and just reading those essays was great. The kids were just so smart and engaged, and what I really loved is how so many of them just sort of took this for granted, that they're going to have access.
Mm.
And a couple of them would say in their essays, I don't know why everything doesn't have this. And I'm just like, preaching to the choir, kid, But I think it's so great that they have that expectation, because as they grow up, they're going to hold authority figures accountable, and say, wait a minute, we had this in this situation. Why don't we have it in this other situation? So I think it's great to, get them while they're young. And our grand prize winner is going to we're going to record her reading her winning essay aloud, and play that, I think, at the convention as well. So that's great.
Wow.
But probably the most immediate thing that everyone will be thrilled to hear about is that we are having a virtual ADP conference in June, the June 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, and we'll have 7 panels. And some of them will be kind of serious. We're going to talk about a certification program for audio describers, also the CVTA, so like laws, which are important. And then we're going to talk with representatives from, I think, all the major streaming services about their accessibility efforts, and in general, but then also, of course, audio description in particular. And there will also be panels on sort of more academic audio description research, which, given my history, I am excited about. also AD around the world, and AD across the arts, which is one of mine. I'm going to talk to someone from a museum, from a theater, and from a circus. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, and an AD for kids. So I think yeah. So that's going to be a busy
Oh,
few
yes,
days.
catch your breath.
Yeah.
And that's just the conference. Wow.
Yeah, just yeah, all those in 3 days, and then a couple weeks after that is the ACB convention, and yeah,
It's all
then
happening. I go to adp.acb.org regularly to look at the master audio description list for
mm,
film and TV, and
mhm,
seeing the featured articles there. The conference is listed pretty prominently.
mhm.
There's a lot of things that are happening that I'm sure you're you're there's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I keep saying that I'm going to try to make an editorial calendar for posts on the website, and then things just keep popping up that need to go up there. But I have enjoyed working on the website a little bit. We've done some fun kind of themed uh, movie roundup sort of things for like different occasions and stuff. So I did a Star Wars roundup for May the 4th for Star Wars
Very
Day.
nice.
And Carl Richardson, one of the co-chairs of the ADP, he did a James Bond feature when a bunch of James Bond films came out with audio description. I think they've had a couple others, I can't remember, but
Of
yeah,
course,
so
Carl did
try
a 007. That's
yeah.
so Carl.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun, because I want I want the site to be just sort of the one-stop shop for audio description. The film and title catalog, and but also information about theaters and museums. And I'd also like to kind of build up the kind of the how-tos. So if you're an organization that wants to do audio description and wants to provide it, I would like people to go there to find out how and see. I also like to plan on doing some profiles of organizations that are doing audio description, so that we have some sort of success stories and some examples. So if you're a small theater or a film studio or a movie theater, and you think, maybe I should be doing this, but I don't know how. And or if somebody, if a patron tells them you should be doing this, I say, oh no, we can't do that. Then they can go to the website and see how it's done, and see how that
Mm.
other people are doing it, and they should do it too.
It's so great to see that that direction is gonna help model for others
Mm-hmm.
how, I'm sure there's a lot of assumptions that you've come across, with people about what audio description is and how that can get in the way. Those assumptions, those false assumptions of, "Oh, audio description is this," and it's the barriers that are put in just because of the assumptions, and how that kind of content, that kind of information at the audio description project hub can be a great
Mm-hmm.
resource in addition to all the other great resources that are already available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of my learning process as well. Just finding out who else is out there in the audio description space, and like you, and just talking to people. And I think just I would love to do as much sort of collaboration and resource sharing as possible, because I think you know generally we get more when we work together. Um,
Mm.
as a unified audio description juggernaut. Yeah. I'm going to
With the
rename the ADP audio description juggernaut.
ADJ.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's a pitch fest. When it comes to your experience as a PhD in English, I'd imagine that one of the pastimes that you may enjoy is listening to audiobooks. Assuming that's a fair assumption, is there a connection that you found between the audiobook experience and audio description experience that you might be able to share with our audience?
I'm not sure
I've
if
got
you're
my own
gonna like
opinions.
this. Okay. Um, well, okay. So I used to be a very visual person. I used to love watching films, and I took film classes throughout my multiple degrees, and just had so much fun doing analysis of the film itself, but also the composition and the lighting and the where the characters are positioned, and just really doing sort of a visual analysis of film as well, particularly when it comes to stuff like film noir. I took a really fun class on Faust, the Faust tradition, and we did Faust in film, so we had all these different Faustian themed films, and which we paired with literature, and we had a unit on film noir. And I this is years ago, and
Mm.
I had a VCR, and I went to the university library and just checked out all of these VHS tapes. And the little work study student was just looking at them completely baffled. I think she had no idea what these things were. It was really funny. Um, so uh, so I have to admit that I do miss the visual element, as my eyesight has gone downhill. I do miss the visual element, and so I tend to read more books than I do watch movies. But I have seen a few audio described films, and I find that critical analysis that I can't do visually, I do it, orally instead. So I've just been critiquing the audio description script, and like there was this one, I won't name it, but the narrator was referring to the main character as the brunette until her name was revealed, which, okay, fine. And then we find out her name. And then in a subsequent scene, he calls her the brunette again. And I'm like, nope, nope, nope. We know her name. And then just some of the word choice, and then there were times when I felt like they weren't, like I didn't quite know what was going on, and I don't think you're supposed to be confused. Where I just kind of wondered where the guy went. So yeah, so I've just found something else to to critique and analyze, and be anxious about. But I mean, I really, I've always been a book girl.
Mhm.
When I first started working on my PhD and was teaching, one of the first little, in-class writing exercises we had students do was to write about their relationship with reading and writing. And so I responded to the prompt as well, because I was like, I haven't really thought about this myself. And I realized that I couldn't remember learning to read. My mom taught me before I started school. So as far as I'm concerned, reading is like breathing. It's just
Mhm.
something that I have always done. So when my eyes kind of took their first steep decline, the summer before I started working on my PhD in English, I stopped being able to read print books. And it's a very strange feeling to start a degree in literature when you feel illiterate.
Mhm.
um, so I did have to switch to reading things electronically, still visually for the most part. And then, I think in like 2010 or something, I got my first Audible subscription and never looked back. And of course, also have access to Bard, which is good. Um, and also actually just reading something on Libby this morning. So, there are options. You know, I still miss having all of the options. I have a smaller library than I did before my eyes got worse. And that's true for me with books. It's true for for movies and TV series that don't have audio description. You know, there's I think of it as this invisible censorship, where there are just
Mm.
forces beyond our control that are deciding what we have access to. And so just kind of go back to the beginning. I think that's
Wow.
what I love about audio description is its potential to push those boundaries back and not have the world get smaller, but have it get bigger, or at least the same size as it is for other people, if not bigger. Like, I think we should, yeah, no limits.
Love it. Oh, this is great. Thank you for sharing all that.
Sorry, that was a really long answer.
It was great, and it covered so many things, and even your, if we go back to that, the comment that you made about the brunette, that there's yet another example of the audio description script being
Mhm.
impactful, that you were affected, whether that meant, and case in point for those that are listening, it's not necessarily the narrator that wrote those words. It could have been that the narrator was told to read those words and may or may not have had to do pickups that may or may not have ended up on the streaming server. That there's a
Mm,
lot of parts to the audio description, and I think it's fascinating that the narrator is part of that association when it could have been the writer, and it could have been the writer was told that they had to put in brunette, that unnecessary second time. There's all sorts
mhm,
of things that really reflect back to what you had said about expanding audio description in the sense of the care and the professionalism that needs to go into this to make it the best that it can be. And right there's a really brilliant example of you having a lesser experience because
mhm.
of the in this case the lack of care that was put into that particular script for AD.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to steal one of our Beatty award winners said something in her essay about um, how like the best audio description, you could sort of almost stop noticing it. It just is so smoothly integrated. And I think she said something about how it like fills in the cracks. And that it's just, it becomes part of the experience and it doesn't take you out of your enjoyment of the film. But it just feels like integrated and part of it. So which I think is just such a, oh, such a fantastic observation. And I'm just thinking about accessibility when it's tacked on at the end. It's often not that great. I'm sure that we've all encountered, physical things seem to work really well as examples. I'm sure we've all encountered these lumpy ramps in front of steps, where it's just like some
Yeah.
guy with a bucket of cement has tossed it down and walked away. And I'm fine, I can step over it, but I do wonder, like, if I was actually using a wheelchair right now, would this ramp be useful to me? And then I've also seen buildings with just beautiful sweeping curved luxurious ramps that everybody just takes the ramp because it's pretty. They just want to walk up the ramp. The stairs are just boring. And so so I think of audio description in that way, if it can be thought of throughout the creative process and the editing process, and if the audio description script writer is in the room with you know the dialogue script writer and the editors are piecing things together, like, would that make the audio description work better? I don't know, but I just get excited by the idea of integrating the accessibility throughout the process rather than it just being stuck on at the end as an afterthought.
Nice. Yeah. Thinking about that Mark Twain quote, I didn't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long one instead. And the implications of that are, it takes work to be efficient. It takes work for that
Mhm.
immersion, for that as the Beatty Award winner said, the smooth
Mhm.
integration.
Yeah.
That becomes for an audience member to fully immerse themselves. It's taken effort and thought
Mhm.
and consideration.
Yeah.
Really, really great to hear that. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share with our audience?
Um, well, it's a tradition because at ACB, I'm officially in the advocacy and governmental affairs department. So it is our tradition to always sign off with "keep advocating." So I think that that's the most important thing is that keep enjoying audio description. Ask for it if you can't find it. That's another thing that's on my to-do list, probably post-convention, is I want to create what so far I'm calling the AD toolkit. And I want to create
Ah,
little one sheets for people that would be obviously available on the website. And I don't know if it's going to be like printable QR codes. I don't know, but um, I want people to have some resource they can give to other people. You know, like if they go to a movie theater or a live theater and they ask for audio description and they're told, "Oh no, we don't have it." You know, right now people can just shrug and walk away, and that's not going to help change anything. So I want them to have something that they can hand that person and say, "Here, this is what audio description is. This is why it's important, and this is how you can do it. And here are some resources to help you create it." So I really want to help, you know, find ways to help people do that advocacy for themselves. And, you know, if everybody starts asking for audio description every time they want it and can't find it, then eventually we'll have it covered.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Nice. I'd love to throw your way, kevinsway.com/concierge, where we've listed some contact information, particularly for the streaming services. It's not been
Mm,
updated recently, but it's a jump start for some of that contact, and love to be able to share that with
mm,
ADP. As I'm sure you've already got most of those contacts listed. Is there and obviously we've mentioned Audio Description Project a handful of times. Just
mhm.
another shout out to the website is adp.acb.org. I think I got that right. Right, Tabitha?
Yep, that is correct. And there are links there for the social media, Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that if people are social. I'm not terribly social myself. So
Gotcha. And kind of same. I found myself taking substantial steps back, and the podcast does automatically get sent out to social
mm,
media channels. But as far as
mm,
engagement goes, I'm surprised personally that I've taken a uh, temporary possibly step away from
mm,
social media, and yeah, I'm not sure what that means.
mm. No, doesn't make you a bad person.
There we go. I'll take it. Thanks so much for joining us, Tabitha.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.